What is going on, guys? Snickel here, and today I have a guide for you for the Bozak Horde DLC in Dying Light. I'm going to walk you guys through how to set up the DLC, basically prepare yourself the best for it, because if you go in a certain way, you're going to struggle a lot. I'm also going to walk you through 4 of the 5 trophies. One of the trophies that I'm not going to walk through is the 10 headshots on Rise's men, because you could do that whenever. But yeah, I'm going to just walk you through how to set it up, how to get through all these other trophies, how to unlock the arrows, do all this, do all that. And yeah, that's basically it. So anyway, with all that being said, let's get right into this video. Before we move any further into step 1, I do want to make a note that you do need a physical version of the game. You cannot own the game digital in order to do this glitch and break the game. So I just want to note that. It's probably really cheap to get it physical nowadays, but I just want to note that before we start off so I don't get any angry comments. I can't do this because I have it digital. You need a physical version of the game. So anyway, starting out with step 1, this is the most important, most crucial step to this whole situation. And that's setting up a character that will breeze through the DLC and basically get you everything done. You need to structure this character correctly, and you can't do this with a normal character. You have to create a certain character that has a really high survivor level and has all these upgrades so you can one-punch zombies and basically do everything and just breeze through it. So I'm going to be setting that character up in step 1. We are going to be doing this on a PS4, so if you're on an Xbox One or you're on the PC, I'm not really sure how to do some of this stuff, but I'm sure you guys can figure it out. But just remember to always back your saves up, because we're going to be doing some pretty wacky stuff. So anyway, if you're on the PS4, the first thing that you want to do is you want to go to the XMB on your PS4. You want to hover over the Dying Light application. Once you're hovering over the application, you want to press Options. You want to scroll down to Delete Application. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to delete the application and all the updates that are corresponded to it, okay? You're not going to be deleting the game save that you have. You're not going to be deleting any of your information, any of your saves. None of them are going to be deleted. You're purely deleting the application and the updates. So you will have your game saves later on, and there's something that happens later on that's a little strange if you've already played the game. So once you have the application deleted, you want to remove the game from your console and put it right back in. Now, once you have it back in, the application is going to pop back up on the screen like it would normally do, and what it's going to do is it's going to start downloading the update. In my case, when I did it, it was update 1.15. So once it starts downloading that update, just pause it. Don't let it download the update anymore. Now what you want to do, go to your library. You can like queue up your other DLCs, like if you have the Following or the Bozak or not the Bozak, basically any DLCs you have for it, you can go queue them up. They can download, but they won't work because you won't have the update. But the most crucial thing is just to start to download the update and then pause it so it can't go any further. So once you have the update paused, you're then going to go back to the application and you're going to start the application up, and you're going to get a message when it starts up. It's going to say start application without update. You'll press yes. It's going to say like basically you can't play online if you don't have the update. That's perfectly fine, okay? So once we boot up the game and you don't have any updates installed, you're going to load into the game, and if you've already played before, you're probably, you're going to have a game save. So you're going to go to continue game, and what it's going to do is it's actually going to say that your save is corrupt. Now if it says this, not a big deal, okay? All you need to do is you need to go to New Game, Start New Game, and then there should be a button that says Advanced. You press the Advanced button, and then you get the option to actually start at any mission in the game. So what I personally did was I started the mission before the last one, complete the mission. Okay, so once you have started a new game from the second to last mission, and you've completed the mission, now you're back in the open world, okay? So now what you need to do is you need to go collect a quarantine disaster relief crate. You need to go collect one of those disaster relief crates. They'll be dropped around the cities. Rise's men will be near them. You can go do a quarantine zone. You just need to go get one disaster relief crate. Now the next step, once you have the disaster relief crate, the next step is the most important. I'm going to link in the description below a guide on how to duplicate items. And essentially what you need to do is you need to take this disaster relief crate and you're going to need to duplicate it like 50,000 times. Now it might sound like a lot, but it only takes about an hour or two to do this. once you set up the glitch. And the glitch is very easy. I can explain it to you right now, but the video that's in the description below is very useful as well, and it'll walk you through. So essentially what you do is you buy 999 lockpicks, you go to your stash. When you're in your stash, you put the lockpicks in your stash, and then you hover over them in your stash. You press X and circle at the same time. It'll back you out with the screen still on. You wait for that to disappear. Then you go back into your stash, you go over your disaster relief crate, you press triangle to put all, and then it duplicates 999 of them. And then you just keep doing that over and over again. Like I said, the video in the description below, it'll walk you through the whole thing. It's very easy. Okay, so now you want to duplicate those disaster relief crates like 50,000 times. Like, duplicate as many as you possibly can. Now, after you duplicate those crates, go ahead, save the game, and then close your application, okay? Once you close your application, then you want to download the update, the most recent update. In my case, again, was 1.15. So I downloaded that update, downloaded all the DLC, the Bozak, the following, installed all that stuff. Took a few hours because it's like a 10 gigabyte update. Once you have that installed, you then go back into the game, back into that save that you originally made when you duplicated all the crates. You go to that save. What you're going to do is all those crates that you now have in your stash, all those disaster relief crates, like all 50,000, however many you have, 50,000, 100,000, you want to take all of them out of your stash, put them in your inventory, and then go deliver them to the quartermaster. Now, you don't want to deliver them before you update the patch because there was no legendary level. So if you delivered 50,000 of them to the quartermaster, you wouldn't get anything out of it. They added legendary levels later on in the game, so when you deliver them, it'll give you your legendary levels. Now, this is where it's a little crucial because you need to figure out what level you're actually going to be. Me personally, I did about 50,000 of these, and I got to level 225 legendary, which you can see on the screen right now. I had a friend that I did this with. I don't know how many he did. He only got to legendary level 180. It doesn't really matter. Essentially, you want to be over level 100 because you only want to max out a few skills, which we'll talk about a little later on. So once you turn all those crates in and you get all your legendary levels, you've basically set your character up. But now we need to talk about doing a few of the upgrades. So the most crucial upgrades in the legendary leveling area, the most crucial updates are going to be, you want to max out your melee hits, you want to max out your health, you want to max out your arrow damage, and the other stuff you can mess around with. I did healing proficiency or healing efficiency, whatever it is, where basically you get more health back from a med pack. One-handed weapons don't really matter because you don't need them at all throughout the whole DLC. If you max out your melee hit, you'll do more damage with your melee than you will with a weapon, so it's not even worth it. Other than that, you can tweak with stamina, whatever else. You just need to have melee hit maxed out. I would max health out, and I would max arrow damage out, and I would also max gun damage out. So those four, that's 100 levels. If you can get to level 100 and max those four out, you'll be good to go. If you can go higher than that and max out other things like stamina, healing efficiency, all that, you'll be really good to go. So level 100 is a minimum. So once you max those out, you've basically set the character up. So that's all of step one. We've set a character up, a completely OP character up. So now let's move on to a few of the trophies that you're going to get in this next step once you've done this, first step for a few hours. For step 2, you actually are going to get to play the game, and that's essentially all you want to do for step 2, is just play the game and get to know the DLC. A few things off the bat here that you should just remember is that everything has a fixed spawn. So all the bombs, all the parkour challenges or parkour routes that you have to do, they're all the same, so they won't change. The only thing that varies a little bit is where some of the virals will spawn, but for the most part, everything is scripted, everything is the same. There's no surprises at all when you're playing through this. I do want to make a note about a few of the rounds. So there's some reward rounds when you need to kill some bolters for med packs and stuff. you don't actually have to do these rounds. You don't have to kill all of the bolters because it's just a reward round. But for a trophy later on, you are going to want to kill them as fast as possible. So I would suggest when you're playing through and getting to know the DLC a little bit, that you try to kill these bolters as fast as possible. And there's a few things that you can get to make this easier. But the reason that you want to just play the DLC and get to know it and just get the trophy for beating it is because once you beat the DLC, you're then given a bow. You can go in with an actual bow, so you'll start out with a weapon. You won't have arrows, but you'll have the bow. And we'll talk about getting the arrows a little later on. But just beating it, getting to know it, that is going to be step 2, because you're going to need to know spawn spots, because eventually you're going to have to speed run this. So just get to know it, get to know the spawns, and just get comfortable with it. I would suggest to do this with 2 people, not by yourself. You can do it by yourself when you have your maxed out melee and everything, because you'll one-hit everything with a maxed out melee. But doing it with 2 people makes it easy because it doesn't spawn too many more, or it might not even spawn extra zombies at all. It's very minimal what it spawns if you just go you and somebody else. And you're going to need someone else for the next trophy, so I would suggest to do this with someone else. But again, just get comfortable with the DLC, get to know it. It'll take a few runs, maybe 2 hours to really get comfortable with the DLC, and that's all you need to do for step 2. So we're kind of out of the steps here. I'm just going to talk about the rest of the trophies in the DLC. So the next trophy that I want to talk about is Together Till the End, which is to be the last man standing. This is actually a very interesting trophy, I guess you could say. You would think it's something else, but it's actually not. So if you actually play the Trials, the Bozak Horde, with 2 people, at the end of it, once you complete Trial 20, you then go into a Trial 21, where you and the other person that you just fought with the whole time go on a 1v1. So if you have 2 people, you just go kill the other guy, and then you play again, and you let the other person kill you. So you are going to have to beat the challenges twice, because you're each going to have to win once. But once you get very comfortable with it and you know everything, and you and your partner can kind of breeze through it, it's no problem at all. You'll breeze through in like 25-30 minutes easily. So yeah, with this trophy, again, you just have to be the last man standing, which is Trial 21 at the very end of the DLC. If you're playing with I guess more than just yourself, if you're playing with 4 people, then you would just have to kill the other 3 and be the last man standing. So very simple. It can be misleading at first because it kind of sounds like you should just be you know, the last person alive just at any time, but it's at the very end of the DLC, so it's not too difficult. But again, just remember it when you get to the end. Lastly, we're going to talk about the arrows that you're going to learn to craft within the Bozak Horde DLC. So you're given challenges at the beginning of the game, and they kind of pop up once you get your bow. I don't know if they pop up at the very beginning or after you get your bow, but there are challenges for 3 different type of arrows that you can learn to craft, but you only need it for 2. So to start off, we're going to start off with learning how to craft exploding arrows. So to learn how to craft exploding arrows, you have to beat the Bozak Horde DLC under a certain time limit. Now, I believe if you do it by yourself, you have to beat it under 31 minutes. If you do it with 2 people, you have to beat it under 28 minutes. I don't know about 3 or 4 people. I'm not 100% sure what the challenge is for that, but I would highly suggest to do this with 2 people. Now, you're going to have to basically speed run the whole DLC, because doing it in 28 minutes, it can be pretty difficult with 2 people, but if you're comfortable, you can get through. A few things to save time is when you're doing your parkour routes, it's going to show a green and a white like light area, green being the one you need to get to now, white being the next one. What I would suggest is that if the white one is kind of in an awkward area, kind of have your other partner run to the white one so that they can grab that, and then you can grab the next white one. If you know the routes and you know exactly where to go, you guys can actually alternate the blue and the whites, and you can get through it extremely fast. So that's a way to cut time with the parkour routes. When you get to the reward rounds, when you need to kill the bolters, again, you need to kill these bolters as fast as possible. Now, if you've already beaten the DLC, you'll actually have access to the bow and the arrow, so you can shoot the bolters with the bow and arrow. So again, very easy, but you are wanting to kill them as fast as possible. Everything else, it's kind of just like, you just want to beat it. You want to kill stuff as fast as possible when it comes down to it. So you want to kill virals as fast as possible. You want to kill the big guys as fast as possible. Anytime you can use a zip line or anything, you want to use that. So you just want to get through stuff as fast as possible. And again, this just comes with knowing the DLC, knowing spawn spots, knowing all this, is being comfortable with it. So you're gonna have to speed run it. You're gonna have to beat it under 28 minutes to unlock the exploding arrows, to learn how to craft the exploding arrows. So now let's get into the next arrow, which is the electric arrow. And in order to learn how to craft the electric arrow, you need to get 10 viral kills with the bow and arrow in a round. Now, when you start the DLC up, you're going to have the bow, but you're going to have no arrows. So you're probably wondering, well, where do I get the arrows? When you kill virals, they will drop arrows. And this is what I suggest. This is me personally, because when I tried it my first time, I got no arrows. In the very first area in the parking garage, there's going to be like 2 rounds when you have to kill virals. If you go through all 2 of those rounds and you get 0 arrow pouches through those whole rounds, I would suggest to just restart right away. You want to get an arrow pouch drop as soon as possible, because you want to be killing these virals with the arrows like right away. So if you get an arrow drop of like, I think they drop in 6. So if you get 1 pouch, you'll have 6 arrows. Now you're probably thinking, well, I need 10 because I need to kill 10 enemies. The good thing is that you can actually pick arrows up after you shoot them. Sometimes it's like you can't always get your arrows back, but a majority of the time you will get your arrow back. So if you shoot a viral with your arrow, it might, land in them. If you miss them, it'll go past them. If you don't know where your arrow is, just hold down X, and then it'll do that like sensing thing, and then they'll pop up, and you'll see them all over the place. But you can pick your arrows back up, so all you need is just 1 pouch. Now, you're probably not going to get 10 viral kills in the first area, and sadly, you don't come across virals again until you get into the elevator. So you're going to have to get all the way to the elevator in order to unlock or be able to kill virals again. By the time you get to the elevator, you're going to get like a dozen virals, so you'll be able to get 10 kills in there easily, but you will need to get 10 kills in 1 round for the electric arrows. And if you want to know for the other arrows, you have to kill 10 bolters with bow and arrow, so it's not too bad at all. But yeah, these 2 are not very difficult. You just have to do the time trial. 10 kills with the virals with your bow and arrow, not too difficult. And again, the arrows will drop from virals. You have to search them after you kill them. Before we end this, I do want to just talk about the last trophy, just so we can talk about everything. And the last trophy being Robin Hood Theory, which is to score 10 headshots on Rise's men with a bow. This just comes over time, just playing when you get back into the main game, the main maps. You just have the bow and arrow now. You just got to go kill as many of Rise's men with headshot as possible. So it's not difficult. It's just probably going to take a little bit of time, because once you shoot one, they're all going to know you're there. So it's going to be kind of difficult. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, be sure to give it a like. If you do have any questions or comments about any of the processes or steps or anything, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I will try my best to respond to everybody. Anyway, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you need any other guidance on any other trophies or anything, I do have a playlist. I'll be linked in the description below. It'll have all types of trophy guides, things of that sort, so be sure to check that out. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I do live stream on Twitch if you are interested in that kind of stuff. There is a link in the description below again, if you want to check that out. But anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy, hope it was helpful, and I hope to see you around sometime soon.